Barb Kane, and I am the Director for Career Discovery at District 214. And you will also be hearing from two of my colleagues today, Kathy Gannon, who is our Partnership Manager and the Apprenticeship Program Supervisor, and Marcella Rekazip, who is our Director of Grants and Special Programs. To give you a little bit of background about our school district before we sort of dig into work-based learning and apprenticeship in particular. Our district encompasses about 70 square miles in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, and we serve about 12,000 students across 7 different high schools, 6 comprehensive high schools and a specialized schools that's made up of 3 different programs. We have about 1,500 staff members, and our school district is very career pathways focused. So we'll talk a little bit more about what that means coming up. But we basically offer students opportunities for academic coursework and work-based learning experiences across the 16 different nationally recognized career clusters. And what that means in terms of actual implementation here is we recognize 44 different career programs of study, which means that our students have access to, like I said earlier, coursework and work-based learning opportunities in all of these programs of study. And so in actual practice, what that looks like in a classroom is that for each of these 44 programs of study, we offer, I would say, a minimum of 3 or 4 at the least electives that are career focused for students to explore that pathway. So they have the opportunity to spend all 4 years worth of electives if they want to, studying a single program of study, or we like to encourage students to access coursework that allows them to really get a feel for different programs of study and different career opportunities. And in addition to doing that through the coursework with our many credentialed teachers, we also offer students the opportunities to participate in work-based learning experiences. And we'll talk about that, what that looks like in terms of the continuum of experiences. But we have roughly 2,500 students per year that participate in a work-based learning experience somewhere along that continuum of experiences. And we do that through our partnership with over 1,000 different industry partners. In addition to the academic areas that are career focused and the work-based learning experiences our students have access to, we are also very strongly focused on offering our students a pathway to what's next. And so that to us also means offering early college credit opportunities for students, both in core curricular areas like math and English, but also in career spaces. And in addition to that, college level coursework offering certifications and industry credentials to students as well. So what we talk about in terms of building, I mentioned we have 44 different career programs of studies. In the many, many years long process of developing those career pathways and what they look like here for students and teachers at District 214, we identified 3 guiding principles that we feel are necessary for any one of our career pathways to be fully developed and accessible to students. And that what those principles are the first is that it offers a sequence of courses beyond high school, meaning that the students can take the skills that they're learning and oftentimes credentials that they're earning or college credit courses that they're taking, and they can parlay that into either immediate entry into the workforce, into credit that they can use to further themselves in a post-secondary plan at 4-year college or a 2-year college or something like that. And those those focused courses are career pathway specific. The second piece is that we offer students the opportunity to do some sort of work-based learning, which is an authentic working experience outside of the classroom typically. So some of our classes have embedded experiences, but even in those cases, those students are leaving the classroom to participate in some sort of work-based learning experience, or they're doing something sort of on their own time. We'll talk about what that continuum of experiences looks like in just a minute. And then the third piece for all of our pathways is that there be some sort of opportunity to earn, as I mentioned earlier, strategic early college credit and or industry credentials so that they have something that helps put them on the path beyond high school. So today we're going to talk about specifically our department that facilitates work-based learning, that second component in those sort of 3 principles there. So that second component of work-based learning in District 214, all those experiences are facilitated by a department called the Center for Career Discovery, in which this team works. And so apprenticeship is just one of the different opportunities. So we'll take a look next here at the continuum of what those experiences look like for students. It's important to us that all students in our district be able to access some sort of authentic work-based learning, because we know that they can learn a lot of different things from their teachers and from their books and from reading, but nothing is the same as putting a student into an authentic environment where they can be in an actual workplace setting, surrounded by colleagues and coworkers, and see what a realistic environment will look like for them once they leave our doors. And so that is important to us, not just for our students who are going on to a college program or directly into the workforce, but even our students who may not be quite ready to go into the workforce when they leave us, or might need some additional training in order to be ready to enter the workforce. So we have 3 tiers of work-based learning, going from tier 1, which is the most independent experience a student can participate in, which is our internships and our apprenticeship programs. And then 2 and 3 are more supported experiences. So these tiers are accessed predominantly by our students who have IEPs, and depending upon the level of support they need, it determines what tier they're in. And so tier 2 are our daily supported community-based work experiences for students. So those students are going to a business out in our community, and they're supported at that business by a job coach who is employed by District 214, and they're learning many basic employability skills that will allow them, once they leave high school, to access competitive employment. Tier 3 is our students who need the most level of support, and they are basically working in an authentic job site experience, but that site is within our community of schools and district office. So we have created job sites like a coffee cart and a work center where we have skills that students need learn. And then students who are in this tier 3 environment, many of them do then matriculate on to a tier 2 and even a tier 1 experience once they've gained the skills to be in a more independent setting. So today we're specifically going to talk about apprenticeships in a few minutes, and those are really in that tier 1. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about how our department is structured, knowing that what we have at District 214 is fairly unique, and oftentimes the people supporting these experiences and partnerships with business in our community are really oftentimes school-based and school-focused. Our department is a district-level department that has support in the buildings and at the district level. So I'll talk a little bit about what those roles look like. So in the Center for Career Discovery, as I mentioned, my role is the director in this department. I help oversee a department that facilitates all work-based learning experiences for all students. So that does include our students with IEPs that are in a vocational work setting, and it includes our other students who are more independent and placed in these internship and apprenticeship experiences. And we have a supervisor that sits over each of those programs, one over that vocational program and one over the apprenticeship and internship program. And those supervisors are really responsible for the overall program implementation and for the process of onboarding new partners and stewarding existing partners to strengthen those relationships so that we have partners that are willing to help support our students. And those 2 supervisors also each support a team. And so our supervisor over our vocational program, he supervises the team of job placement specialists, otherwise known to us as job coaches. And those are the individuals that are out in the community sites supporting our students with special needs as they gain those employability skills in their workplace. On the other end, we have student success coaches, which are supported by our other supervisor who is overseeing internship and apprenticeship. And those student success coaches are based in our school building. So we have one in each of our high schools, and their job is really to be the face of our program to our students. And so they are helping our students be successful in the workplace learning experiences that they are participating in, and preparing them to participate in one if they've never participated in one before. So I'll give you a little bit more detail on that student success coach position, especially as it relates to the apprenticeship program here, which is that each of those success coaches in their buildings are supporting a caseload of students. And so that's basically any student who at a given moment is participating in a work-based learning experience, whether that be an internship or an apprenticeship. And they are meeting with that student on an ongoing basis. I would say it's monthly, but our coaches would tell you often it's weekly or even daily, as they become sort of the main, like they're the person basically for their students at the school to help, that helps them through anything. It may be things that are related to, you know, their workplace, but it may also even be some of the stuff that's going on with them academically. They kind of become their system of support that's in their school building. And so that success coach is really tasked with helping them ensure their success in whatever their particular environment or situation is. And so they work together to problem solve if something's going on the work site. They work together to assess the skills that this student is gaining and whether or not they're having the experience that they thought they would. They coach them through how to have conversations and ask for more opportunities and responsibilities at their work site, all sorts of things. But basically, they're engaged with all students who are currently engaged in a workplace learning experience. And then in addition to that, they're supporting those students who aren't yet involved in one, either kind of identify career areas that are interesting to them or help them through that process of applying for a work-based learning experience. And now I'm going to turn it over to Marcella, and she's going to talk a little bit more about specifically the Tier 1 apprenticeship opportunity for students.
Hi, everybody. I'm Marcella Zip. I'm the Director of Grants and Special Programs for High School District 214. And as we move into specifically Tier 1 and our youth apprenticeships, I have listed here the apprenticeships that our students have participated in or are currently participating in the district. And these are a mix of Department of Labor registered apprenticeships as well as Illinois youth apprenticeships. And the ones with the little star next to it, certified nursing assistant, information technology, manufacturing, farm tech, and professional cook, those are registered with the Department of Labor, but we also are able to run them as a youth apprenticeship, as I will explain in a few slides. Illinois is in a very unique position because the Illinois Youth Apprenticeship Committee came together were given a task really by the Workforce Investment Board in the state to develop a framework in Illinois for youth apprenticeships. We are a federal state for apprenticeships, so any registered apprenticeships have to go through the representatives in Illinois with the Department of Labor to get those registered. But it provides a challenge in having the apprenticeships focused on youth and the needs of youth in high school and the funding mechanisms that can be used to get students into apprenticeships and through with financial supports. So Illinois came a group of individuals from all over the state, Workforce Investment Board, people, educators, individuals from policy groups gathered together over the period of a year. It was a really intense year researching, finding other models that other states are using, recommendations from PIA on the principles and standards that we could use to apply specifically to youth apprentices and high schools. So we have the essential components of every quality apprenticeship with paid OJT, RTI, competency standards, post-secondary credit, industry credentials, and alignment to college and career pathways, as well as these guiding principles, very similar to what was discussed first in High School District 214's pathways principles of career-oriented, adaptable, accountable, and portable with that dual credit that credit students earn here in high school can be transferred to public universities. And then our program standards in the second column provide some details on what we are looking for with these apprenticeships. So specifically, this Tier 1 youth apprenticeship in the state, in our program, either registered or non-registered, is focused on rising seniors who have confirmed their career pathway. And depending on the occupation they are placed into, they're going to complete 450 to 2,000 hours of OJT at their employer's site. They are earning RTI credit that we have set up that is always dual credit at no cost to the students. All of the frameworks that we have for these occupations are based on competency standards. And we purposely did that because ideally these students are coming into this apprenticeship with potentially 3 years of career and technical education coursework behind them. So they know what to do on the job. They are familiar with the occupation because they've already had career awareness, they've had job tracks, they've had classroom speakers come in and speak to them about what is involved in careers in this field. And then all of our apprenticeships are paid an escalating wage. The 15 to 17 is just a recommendation that we use as a starting point with employers. Some employers pay more in the healthcare field, manufacturing. Some just keep it at the minimum wage, but that is a flexible dollar amount that we are able to pay the students, that the employer pays the students. Getting into the numbers with starting the youth apprenticeship program, it's always nice to show how we scaled this over the years and that we started with 4. So we've grown from 4 apprentices trying this out, figuring out how all of this works. And then we've grown it now to this school year in our 5th cohort that is wrapping up when the students graduate at the end of May with a total of 46 apprentices. So we've had 111 high school apprentices go through our program. You can see the occupations that they were in. And we are recruiting right now for our 6th cohort that will be starting this summer with their OJT and RTI to be completed by the end of their senior year next year at the 24-25 school year. And then here's some data just to show we keep track of this to make sure that we are not targeting only specific groups of students with our apprenticeships. We're split pretty equally between male and female students. You can see that depending on the occupation, like healthcare and education, there's more female students in it compared to male students in IT and manufacturing. As a district, these are areas that we are looking actively to diversify the students that are in those classes, specifically focusing right now on IT and cybersecurity because of the job availability in our state and region in IT. We have approximately 40% of apprentices that have come through the program were low income and based on free and reduced price lunch status. 17% were in special education and 5% were English learners. And then the ethnicity represented by our apprentices mirrors somewhat closely to our district demographics. So we feel like we're in a pretty good spot with the students that are participating in this and continue moving forward with that. All right, this list I just wanted to provide because, as I said before, we have the mix of registered apprenticeships available to students and youth apprenticeships available to the students. So the registered ones are through Department of Labor. They are a much higher number of OJT hours, but pretty much have the same RTI required as the youth apprenticeship. The youth apprenticeships are based entirely on the Illinois model with the 450 hours of OJT. This list is longer than the other one with the active apprentices because we have some new occupations that we have developed that we're still seeking industry partners to provide opportunities for students to participate in that. Some of these also I'd like to note, such as the maintenance custodian and the fleet custodian, hotel event associate, are specifically geared towards students in special education, so we can increase the number of Tier 2 students that are moving up into Tier 1 for apprenticeships. And then funding apprenticeship programs. Usually kept a slide like this towards the end of any presentation, but started putting it into the middle because we share the Center for Career Discovery structure. We talk about the number of apprentices that we've had so far. And I think the question going through many people's mind is, okay, that's really great, but how are you actually pulling this off? So I'd like just to discuss the funding portion before we get into some of the specifics with the apprenticeship program implementation. Because in that first column, I've listed funds that are pretty much accessible to most high schools across the nation. The Title I and IDEA formula funding are funds that most school districts have access to. And we're able to use that for tutoring for students to make sure that they are being successful in their RTI, and pay for students on fee waiver for their dual credit tuition fees. IDEA, DRS, we could use for those job placement specialists. And the thought behind that is we do have funding in place when we have employers onboarded and we have students ready from tier 2 to move up into those tier 1 apprenticeships that are in special education. The Perkins funding is used, well, not Perkins, but the CTEI match from the state for Perkins funding. We use that to fund all the success coaches in the district that help support these apprentices and do the check-ins, interviews, get them onboarded. And then the WIOA in-school youth funds, they come from Department of Labor, come through Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. We access those through a competitive grant program. We're able to use that for special education students for transportation and help support wages. In the right-hand column, the Illinois Youth Apprenticeship Expansion Grant really is the one primarily funding our apprenticeship program here in District 214. We've had several grants through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for apprenticeship expansion focused on youth. And this has been incredibly important state funding the state has received from DOL to expand apprenticeships. We've used this for everything we've needed, from transportation, wages, dual credit tuition, as well as the support staff and administrative help to implement this apprenticeship program. And then I also wanted to list the PIA partners that have helped support various specific occupations our apprentices have been engaged with, and New America Urban Institute, Net America JFF, Ed Strategy Group, all of these groups are focused on apprenticeships, providing opportunities to high school students, career awareness. These are really wonderful groups to have worked with us. They help research items, provide a lot of information. And Urban Institute has been phenomenal in helping us identify or create occupations that would work for high school students. Kathy.
Okay, thanks, Marcella. I'm Kathy Cannon. I am the Partnership Manager and Apprenticeship Program Supervisor here at D214. Have really the privilege of working with an amazing community. As Barb mentioned earlier, we have 65 square miles within our school district boundaries. And within that parameter are tons and tons of industry partners, as you can imagine, from all different sectors of business. And we are really fortunate to be able to have partnerships with them and relationships with them. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what that looks like. We have in the Center for Career Discovery the opportunity to help students with their work-based learning and connecting them to partners. And one of our programs is an internship program, and that's been in existence for over 10 years. So we've had relationships with our business community for unpaid internships for many years. And when we started doing apprenticeships back in 2019, we started very small, with the D214 being the employer, so we could kind of get a feel for what that looked like. And over the course of these past 5 years have developed ways to engage existing partners who have been engaging with and providing internship opportunities, and then also finding new partners to support the different apprenticeship frameworks. So this is a one-pager that we've developed as we go out into the community to talk with folks about what is a youth apprenticeship. It is new to many. It's not blue collar. A lot of times it's gray collar, white collar. So some people are not familiar, and especially not engaging with an apprenticeship program that starts and ends all within the 1 year, the junior to senior year of high school. So talking with these partners and giving them reasons why they should engage with us and what that might look like, and really that business proposition of what can we do for you? How can we help your workforce grow? How can you get access to our young talent? As Marcella said, some of these students have been in the career pathway program for 3 years. So they have coursework, they have the lab work in our state-of-the-art manufacturing lab, or they've taken the CNA course. So really partners are getting access to talent earlier and earlier. So with that being said, when we recruit for our apprenticeship program, and students go through our process, we can say to a partner, you're getting a pre-screened applicant. You're getting someone who's ready to go, ready to get hired, ready to work, ready to engage. And that is really a strong selling point. It's really low-hanging fruit for the partner. We're like, here you go, here they are. And they're going to be supported and they're going to be successful. So that really is a huge selling point. Marcella mentioned that the related technical instruction dual credit is paid for by the district. That is really the opposite side of the coin. If a partner is participating in an adult apprenticeship program, typically they are paying for that related technical instruction or industry certification out of their own pocket. So again, another reason to partner with D214. Hiring and training young people for their specific needs. Again, they're getting someone who might not have ever had employment before. So they're able to hire and train and not have to undo a lot of behaviors that they struggle with when they hire adults. So they're able to kind of get in on that ground floor and help that student acclimate to their employee culture and their teams and how they operate. And again, developing that talent pipeline. Many of these students at the end of the apprenticeship, it's an at-will relationship. If the partner would like to continue on hiring the student after graduation, or if the student wants to work there, it's an at-will. But I can tell you, I've been doing some check-ins today as our group of cohort is graduating soon, and many of them are staying on, especially during the summer in farm tech. That's who I've been kind of talking to the most with Walgreens. Those students have gotten such great training and are going to continue on working, and many of them, because it's a national chain, can work at a Walgreens closer to their school while if they're going off to college for their farm tech, or many of them are doing farm tech pre-medical type college experiences, so that they're going to stay connected. So Walgreens is like really excited that they're, investing in this young group of students, and they're going to stay on for an undetermined amount of time. All right, so talk a little bit about onboarding and retaining partners. Again, some of these partners for apprenticeship are not new to us. They've been our partners for many, many years, and having that relationship and showing them that this is another opportunity for them to engage has been great, and just kind of getting them acclimated to the paperwork and the framework of apprenticeship, the competencies, logging on the job training and all of those things. But those who are new to us, cultivating those relationships, we have a team of people who really can make a cold call to a partner and describe what our opportunities are. And if they're interested in apprenticeship, then I can jump in and have a conversation with them. We really are relational based. So my role, I think, is somewhat unique in a high school setting. Many corporations have partnership managers, they're business development managers. So we're really fortunate to be able to have time to dedicate to building that relationship and sharing our values and our mission. It's really important for our partners to understand that they're working with high school students. So it might be a little bit of a shift for them, and kind of helping them understand what those capabilities are. And also, like, the amount of a value add that a high school student can bring to an place of employment, and really help those employees who are already there kind of feel important by being a mentor to them. And that really kind of helps kickstart some great conversations, and sometimes can also help with efficiencies within the departments that these apprentices work, because they see things in a little bit different light. So cultivating those relationships is really important. When we do have a new partner, whether it's apprenticeship or internship, one of the requirements we have is that they pass a very simple background check, just like people who come in to visit our schools. We have a new business form and a site visit that goes through, the safety of that facility. Is there parking? Is there a bathroom? Who's their mentor going to be? So we can really get a feel for it, and we can also reassure our parents that we're sending students to a safe environment and at a place where they share our philosophy. We do have a partnership database called Schooling, so being able to pull out what partners are interested or in the IT pathway, what partners are in the manufacturing pathway. So when we do have students to place, we can always start there and then start talking about the program and how they can partner with us and employ our students. Again, types of engagement, anything, these partners are as simple as participating in a tour for our students, to sitting on a panel for college and career ready night, to hosting an intern for 30 hours, hosting an intern for 60 hours, working with our vocational site, or being an apprentice employer. So there really is a continuum of what opportunities are available to them. And again, having that relationship and understanding what their capacity is. And sometimes that capacity changes based on the cycle of the year, what semester we're in, how business is going for them, who do they have to support the student. So it really is, again, something that you have to spend a lot of time with and finesse to make sure you understand what your partner needs are and their capacities. We dedicate a lot of time to partnership check-ins, whether that's on the internship side or the apprenticeship side. Apprenticeship partners are checked in on a monthly basis, because we really want to make sure we're supporting them if they have any questions about the competencies, the progress, attendance, behavior, all of those things. We want to make sure they know we're supporting what they need from our student and helping them become the best employee they can. And those student success coaches that are in each building help with that, because they're checking in with each apprentice on a monthly basis, or as we joke, sometimes on a daily or weekly basis, depending on the type of relationship they have. So that feedback loop and communication is really important to us. It really is, I think, the cornerstone of why we've been successful and able to grow, is because we don't go, here you go, here's the high school student, good luck. We really want them to be successful, want it to be a win-win. We also spend a lot of time and effort on stewarding our partners. We're continually sending thank yous, whether that's in the mail or via email, a postcard. We have our vocational worksite students making bookmarks or stained glass ornaments and sending those things in the mail with just a quick note from our department saying thank you. At the end of the year, we have an industry partner breakfast, again, highlighting why our partners are important, because we couldn't offer these opportunities without them. We have all of our students make a thank you video for our partners and send it to them at the end of each experience as well. It's just really important to maintain those relationships, again, because without those, we wouldn't have a program. Students and onboarding, again, each cohort has grown, and so we have a lot of wraparound services and what students need to do to get from application to hire. This student we're going to show you is a vet tech student who had a fantastic experience at our local animal hospital.
This is one of our pets being prepped for surgery. He has bladder stones, which you can actually feel in there. So we're gonna get those out for her and make her feel better, because those are not supposed to be there.
It's like crunchy, but it's also like squishy. I don't know. Yeah, it's like sand.
It's like a stress ball with rock.
Yeah.
Leah is our first apprentice here at Randhurst Animal Hospital. And the reason that we decided to go ahead with this program is because we thought it was a really great idea that the school district was doing to give students an opportunity to really kind of explore a potential profession, to see if it was something that they really wanted to do. It also works to our benefit, because we get to basically train them from the ground up.
The girl, yeah. Today was a special day because usually I don't get pulled into surgeries, but today I did, and I got to see this 10-year-old dog. She's very little. She had about 9 bladder stones that we managed to get out. So it was really cool getting to watch that in the surgery room.
In surgery, her role is really just to observe. She's not going to be doing anything really participating in surgery, but it's nice for her to have the experience to be able to see what's going on.
This apprenticeship is really going well for me. Being able to do this apprenticeship while I'm still in high school rather than in college or just later on in life. It's a really good opportunity, and it's something that helps me learn before I jump in, and it helps me get to know what I want to do. If you're thinking about doing the apprenticeship or you're on the edge, I would just say do it. It's a really good opportunity. You know, we don't get many of these, and take it.
Leah continues to work at Randhurst Animal Hospital on her breaks from college. She is studying pre-vet. Her student profile, she was in the veterinary career pathway. One of our high schools, Rolling Meadows High School, has a fantastic vet program, and she has been in that since a freshman. So she was ready to go again with this veterinary apprenticeship. She's already affirmed that that's what she wants to do. So she was hired to have that earn and learn experience. And she continued on that dual credit in biology, and then also taking additional courses at Rolling Meadows for the vet science. One really wonderful thing, and thanks to Marcella for being such a wizard at the grants, is to be able to provide transportation for students in the apprenticeship program. We're not able to do that for internship, but we are able to use grant funds to provide transportation for anyone who needs it. So that really does increase access for many students. We can cab them back and forth and on their shifts. So that really is a highlight for this. The earn and learn piece is huge. This kind of grew out of the fact that, again, we have a very robust unpaid internship program, but many students weren't accessing it because they are in that category where they need to provide some type of income for themselves or their family. And so they have to have an after school job. And we really wanted to give them an opportunity to have a job that was in line with their career pathway, not something that was outside of their career pathway. So this really has helped them, again, with that earning potential. Really, this program has just been phenomenal to the students. And again, we're at that stage right now where we're kind of graduating the seniors and bringing on a new cohort. And it really is a pleasure and privilege to see how impactful this is for student growth from where they start at kind of being unconfident, unsure, newbies, to being really a part of the team or staff that they're serving, and have learned such a great deal. And again, is affirming either, yes, I'm going to move on and I'm going to go on to college and study this, or I'm going to stay here or have this on my resume and go right into the workforce and have that as my experience. CNA is one of our apprenticeships that is registered with the Department of Labor. Our health careers pathway, specifically pre-nursing, is really popular. We have a very strong nursing program with that continuum and sequence of courses 9 through 12. And really that 11th grade coursework of being in the college nursing assistant training program, which is a dual credit program through our community college. But our teachers are adjunct faculty at that college and can teach this course in our labs at each high school. So we have a lot of CNA students as juniors, and that's the target audience group that we recruit from to be CNA apprentices, registered apprentices, for the experience their junior and senior year. The next slide is a slide of Ria, who was one of our first apprentices. We were really fortunate to be able to develop a relationship with our local community hospital, and the CNA apprentices are PCT, patient care techs, at the hospital, and this is Ria's experience. And one other thing before you started, Marcella, I just want to say, you've seen a couple of videos where the students are wearing masks during COVID. We did not stop. We just kept going during that time, and our employers were really dedicated to our program and didn't want the students to not have a program because of what was going on in the world, and we found out a way to make it all work.
Hi, my name's Ria. Today we're here at Northwest Community Hospital. I'm going into senior year of high school and I'm working as an apprentice. Hi, Sue. I put the sit to stand lift. I put it in the therapy gym for you. Northwest Community was very interested in working with District 214 with this apprenticeship program. I figured it would be a wonderful opportunity to bring a student onto the unit and expose them to what we do here in the hospital. It's a great learning opportunity for students here, great experience right off the bat. And of course, the extra help in the hospital setting is certainly appreciated. Hi, I'm gonna do your blood pressure. I'm on the rehab unit right now, so I learn a lot about stroke victims, brain injuries, things like that. And basically how to care and aid for patients who like have weakness or they have aphasia where they can't talk. I took the CNA class at Hershey, my high school. We did it at the school, and I think it definitely helped me because the entire class was training on how to be a CNA/PCP. So everything I learned, I use all the education every day while here at my job. Your pressure is 137/86. One of my favorite things to do throughout the day is just talking to patients and making sure everything's in check. And if it's not, I'll help them get there and make sure everything's all right. Throughout being an apprentice and, getting my CNA license and being a PCT here at the hospital, it definitely helped me realize that I want to pursue the medical field and I hopefully want a future in nursing.
And Ria went and enrolled, got accepted to Loyola in the direct admit nursing program, and is again continuing on at Northwest Community when she's around for breaks. The 450 hours of on-the-job training she acquired as a youth apprentice counts towards her clinical hours that are required at Loyola for her coursework. So that's another really great motivator for students to be able to use those clinical hours as they move forward. One of our other registered apprenticeships is in information technology. We actually have two different apprenticeships that are in this pathway. One is IT network systems, which is an IT generalist. We have those students who have to work a crazy amount, 1,000 hours of on-the-job training, which sounds really insurmountable amount, but with dedication and the right kind of course planning, which we'll talk about in a little bit, they're able to accomplish that 1,000 hours of on-the-job training with their employer and then continue on in the pathway and really find meaningful work. And again, the dual credit courses that they're exposed to, whether it's at Harper for the IT or the cybersecurity coursework, which is through Moraine Valley, the dual credit, getting that certification out of that program. These students and partners are really creating job opportunities, especially in IT. Don't always have to go to a 4-year college with that background and with the different certs and CompTIA, et cetera. So our students are really well prepared for either the IT or the cybersecurity space and have found a great deal of success. And again, many of these students who are working for these employers as apprentices stay on and continue to work post-secondary. So it's been a really good experience in this pathway as well. In order to accomplish this, it takes a village, as they say, to kind of launch a student into this apprenticeship, and the schedule is definitely something that takes a lot of finesse in order for us to create a schedule where the student is still in high school, right? They still want the senior experience of being a senior. We want to give them that dual credit English and math. And then, for example, if you're a CNA, you're also taking college anatomy physiology with a cadaver lab at our community college. So your A day is super busy, full of academics, and then your B day we free up for work. So as we're recruiting students, one of the things we're looking at is their transcript. Are they graduation ready? Are they going to be able to only have a schedule that looks like this? Because they have to give up other electives in order to have time to work during the day. One of the other things we have to kind of manage is we have 6 comprehensive high schools. Everyone's master schedule is different. So when those college English and math things are offered, each employer has a different desire and need for their workforce staff. Some employers really enjoy having the apprentice there all day and the availability of them being there all day. Some employers prefer that the students are there just in the morning. So the schedule might look like their academics are in blocks 1, 2, 5, 6, and then they're free blocks 3, 4, 7, 8 to work, or flipping that. So really customizing each of the apprentice schedules in order to allow for that related technical instruction, the graduation requirement, and the OJT. Really is something that takes some time, but in a team effort, but definitely worthwhile in helping the student and the partner feel successful. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about what this looks like of our challenges that we have come across over the past 5 years. Again, one of those things is that commitment to the schedule that I just showed you. We talk about that extensively in the interview and recruitment process, because really it takes a big commitment for a student. Even if it's 450 hours, that's about 10 to 15 hours per week that the student has to dedicate to working. And again, having that ability to make sure that they're going to graduate. That's why high schools exist. So we want to make sure that they're crossing the stage with that diploma in one hand and that certification of completion of the youth apprenticeship in the other. Checking again when those courses are available for the related technical instruction. We have students who participate in 1 or 2 sporting activities or on clubs, and we encourage them to stay in those clubs and stay well-rounded. So again, that balance of school, extracurriculars, and work, friends, family, all of those things. And our student success coaches are great. And that's why a lot of those students just come in and they're like, well, you know, help me with the schedule, or help me organize, or I need a highlighter to figure out what I'm doing this first week. And then we kind of get them on a good pace, and they can really start to manage those things and still be, again, part of the community of athletes, part with their family, going on vacations. And just communication is really key, just trying to figure out what they have going on and when, and planning in advance, and teaching them how to communicate to their employer so their employer can modify their schedule, and they can do as much as they can without being too stressed out.
And the employer hours are a challenge that we've had to work through. This is why every apprenticeship is customized, because all employers seem to have different hours of operation, and having to fit that in with the high school schedule and when high school staff are available during our working hours, compared to when students are able to work, if it's before school or after school, has been something that we have to deal with on a regular basis every school year, with creating the new cohort of schedules. But Kathy and her team of success coaches are able to do that. And this just goes back to those relationships with the employers, and the employers wanting the apprentices and working with us to make sure that we can maximize the hours, the OJT hours a student can have with them. Transportation has been a huge barrier. We are located in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, and while there is public transportation available, it is not necessarily conducive to the timing of when a student needs to be at high school or then at their job site. So our options with public transportation are limited. We have a fantastic in-house transportation department that helps us schedule transportation within the student schedule, whether it is with some roving shuttle buses we have that go around the district and can drop students off in proximity to our local employers, or scheduling cabs for the students to take them to from school to their place of employment, and then the place of employment either back to school or home, depending on what time it is. Especially if the student is getting off a late shift, we want to make sure that student goes directly from work to home very safely. One thing that we did find a workaround with is students who are 18 and over and their parents were okay with it. We have been able to allow them to use Uber or Lyft or rideshare program, and we've reimbursed them for those costs associated with that, just to remove that barrier and not have the transportation be an additional expense for them. And then we've had grant funds to be able to help pay for the transportation to make sure students are able to access all the OJT that they need, or even get to the college campus in the instances that they are taking some of their RTI at a local college campus. And then one of the things I do in the special programs part of my job title is interacting with the state government, with the youth apprenticeships, and then the Federal Department of Labor to register our registered frameworks. The timing of this is difficult, and you really have to plan ahead for it because our students are on a very tight timeline with the school year, making sure they are placed in their apprenticeship and then they're in and they're out very quickly. I mean, I know it's a year, but it happens very fast. So making sure everything is in place with these apprenticeships being registered or in alignment with the state youth apprenticeship framework is critical. It requires a lot of planning ahead of time. And I think my liaison with Department of Labor thinks I'm a total pest sometimes. But it's just having to keep on top of it because, like I said, these students are in and out faster than you can imagine. And then documenting all of this, one for the grant funding to make sure we have case files on all of the students. With this apprenticeship program, we have aligned it to WIOA case file management. If anybody uses WIOA funds for their students, they know that there is a huge case file that you have to have in place to be in compliance with that grant funding. And we've just set that now as a matter of business with apprenticeship, that we have a case file for the students that keeps track of social security cards to make sure that, or whatever they had, like the TIN, to make sure that they are eligible to be employed in the US. Parent sign-offs, permission forms, insurance requirements, and then the scheduling and employer sign-offs on all of that. So then some of our implementation strategies to get around various challenges we've had over the years with creating this, with creating the apprenticeship program and expanding it to more students. We start with those 4 apprentices I mentioned one of the earlier slides where we started this program. District 214 served as the employer for those occupations because it was very important to us to have the employer experience with this. So we knew what we were getting into and how we could then help support our employers to make sure that the student is being successful at the work site, the employer is happy with everything, and that we have all of our paperwork in place. So there isn't going back and forth with the employer trying to onboard students and deal with issues that arise. So that was a huge success that we had starting as the employer. And we continue to serve as the employer for several occupations that are common within the educational system, such as the early childhood educator, autos. We have a fleet with staff managing that fleet, and we have apprentices in there for automotive. Facilities needs HVAC employees. We have HVAC employees, construction trades apprentices with that. So it's been great that it's allowed other areas of the district too that don't normally work directly with students to have this opportunity to directly impact students and leave the mark with them, and feel really engaged in furthering the mission of District 214. A lot of thought went into developing our apprenticeships as well. One of the things that I did negotiate with the Department of Labor on several of our registered apprenticeships is that these students are coming into the apprenticeship already with industry certifications, like the CNA certification in Illinois, it's license, CompTIA, industry credentials. So these students are not coming in here not knowing what the occupation is, having to learn everything from scratch. They've had coursework in this. They've had a lot of experience already. So we've been able to use a lot of that to contribute towards those competency hours because they've already had a lot of like workplace learning experiences embedded into the coursework before they enter the apprenticeship. And then again, with the transportation, rideshare apps, utilizing public transportation if and when it is available. We have discussed employer-sponsored transportation. Many companies around here do have shuttles that will pick up employees at various locations around here. We haven't actually used it, but we do have that as an option and have discussed on how we would implement it within the confines of District 214 policies. And then cabs, it's as a suburban district, we are heavily reliant on taxis, and that is just, it's expensive, but it works and you can schedule all of this beforehand. One of the great things now in the last couple of years is the local cab companies have been utilizing apps. So the student, instead of just calling a hotline to set this up, the parent and student are able to see on their phone where the cab is, almost like a Uber or Lyft app.
All right, we'll talk a little bit about the challenge of registered apprenticeships with the amount of hours. And again, Marcella has done a great job negotiating some of those. But when we started developing the youth apprenticeship based on the Illinois framework and having the minimum of 450 hours, it became much more manageable for almost any student to complete 450 hours over the course of the year. Again, most of our apprenticeships launched in the summer between junior and senior year, but we do have some that will start at the beginning of the school year. For example, our in-house early childhood preschools are not open in the summer. So those students are starting to gain on-the-job training the first day of school, Institute Day, first day for those preschool kids. And they're still able to accumulate that 450 hours, but it's at a definite cadence and a definite, again, mapping out that schedule, making sure it's feasible and that they actually go to work and they're allotted time and not go to study hall or off campus, but they are working and getting checked in and getting those hours logged. It really does make a difference that they're accountable and they're able to get to that 450. We do have related technical instruction, some that can be considered OJT to help get those hours if needed. Again, being really strategic on the scheduling component and giving students release time is really been I think our best strategy to make sure that they're able to complete their number of required hours. And many of them go over 450, especially if they're out of district. We have a budget. So a lot of times we're really focused on that 450 target, but many times I have one Walgreens tech who actually was almost at 800 hours at the end of her apprenticeship this year. So she's really worked quite a bit. And again, that earn and learn potential for some students, earning that paycheck really is life-changing for them and for their families, for them to either be helping with expenses or to be saving or to, pay for their own gas, whatever have you. It really is a benefit to them to have that earning component. We do have employers that also can help with them achieving that 450 or plus hours if they're able to work remote or if they're able to work nights and weekends. And IT has been really great with the remote work. We had a student who had a family circumstance and had to go out of the country over winter break and didn't get back in the scheduled time that he thought he would, but he was able to log on remotely and continue working and able to keep up with his OJT. So that flexibility of remote work was great. And again, CNAs have a luxury of a hospital and sometimes Walgreens too, of being open 24/7. Not that we promote them working, the night shift by any means, but there is definitely an opportunity to work those weekends or into the evening to gain those OJT hours and make sure that they're able to meet that target.
Okay, we have met our time here. I want to thank everyone for joining us and learning about the High School District 214 program for apprenticeships today. If you Google us, District 214 Apprenticeship Program, you can find us. Reach out to us if you still have questions. Happy to answer them. And we want to wish everyone happy Youth Apprenticeship Week for the first time in 2024. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your afternoon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.